Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alec Reed. This is my channel, Alec Reed, and today we are reading Nick and Charlie chapter 2. I am only reading one chapter at a time for this book, mostly because it took me like 30 minutes to read one chapter, because they are a bit longer chapters. Chapter 2 is 13 pages long, so I'm just letting everybody know that. Oh dear God. Anyway, I also have a Instagram, so go check that out. I ask a million questions over there. You can ask me questions, you can direct message me. I will answer as many as I can in as often as I can. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoy. I have more things to say. What else? Like, subscribe, and comment down below whether it's just leaving recommendations or whether it's saying hello, because I do answer all of them, even if you're just saying hello, because I love y'all, and that's my job. Anyway, let's jump right into the video. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 2. Charlie. I sort of hoped Nick might have picked up on how I've been feeling. Normally he's pretty good at that. Like, weirdly good, actually. And I'm not exactly subtle in my attempts to get him to stop talking about uni. But by third period, after I text Nick to see whatever he's awake again, after dropping me off at school, he said he was going back to bed. The excited text onslaught begins. Nick Nelson. 11:34. We should go uni shopping soon. Is it weird that I'm excited about buying kitchen utensils? Nick Nelson. 12:02. Do you think I should email to check whether I have a double bed? Like, how do people know which sheets to buy? 12:05. I'd better have a double bed, lol. Your bed is bad enough. Nick Nelson. 12:46. Do you think I should take my Xbox, or is that too unsociable? I need people to like me. Nick Nelson. 12:54. Is Callum there? If he is, could you ask him whether he knows about the beds? No, Nick Nelson. 13:15. I'm way more interested in home furnishing than I thought, but the IKEA website is a dangerous vortex. I reply to all of his messages and really try to be enthusiastic, but I can tell my texts sound a bit flat. Nick doesn't seem to notice, though. He just keeps texting me about university and buying stuff for his room and the modules he thinks he wants to take and all sorts of other things that just make me feel increasingly more awful by the second. We've talked about it before, quite a while ago, actually, back when Nick was looking around universities last summer, and when he was applying to them in the autumn. I admitted I was pretty worried about him leaving. I said I was scared of being on my own all the time. It was kind of embarrassing. Really stupid. Scared of being on my own. It sounded like I was 3 years old. Nick obviously reassured me we'd talk all the time anyway, and everything would be fine. We haven't talked about it much since, but only because there's not much more to say about it. Everything is going to be fine. I sit in the common room and listen to Mew's Origin of Symmetry album on repeat, and focus on my classic revision, trying to memorize some Latin vocab again. Getting Aled to test me every now and then, since he's the only one of my friends in school today. I just need to stop thinking about it all. Everything's fine. I'm worrying about nothing. After lunch, after I failed for the third time to remember what lactrominium means, fraud or robbery, Aled puts down the pack of cue cards and looks at me. Al-Last doesn't have a load of friends. He's extremely shy, so not many people try to talk to him, but I'd say he and Tao are two of my best. Ugh, sorry, I say immediately. Wow, I need to revise more. God. Aled blinks at me, and then glances out the window. It's another intensely sunny day, and I probably should have just stayed in bed with Nick this morning. Maybe we should stop revising now, he says in his tiny voice. He chuckles and looks down at his own revision. More colorful math cue cards. Not that I've been doing much anyway. Yeah, same. You okay though? He asked. I feel like you've been really down today. I pause, a little taken aback. Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah? He fiddles with his fingers and gives me a look. Yeah, I don't know. Nick's just talking a lot about uni. It's kind of just makes me feel a bit crap. I don't know. I groan and run my hand through my hair. That sounds bad when I say it out loud. No, you're allowed to feel things. He smiles. I get it. It's not really fair for him, though. He has a right to be excited. Maybe you should talk to him about it. You've already talked about long distance and stuff, right? Yeah, we've talked about it. I just don't think he realizes how much it's... I don't really know how to finish my sentence. It'll make him feel so bad, though. I shake my head. I don't want him to stop being excited about it. Well... Aled struggles to find something to say. He looks down at his desk and fiddles with his cue cards. I don't think you've got anything to be worried about. I mean, you know, you're Nick and Charlie. You're not going to break up. I don't think. I mean, even Elle and Tao aren't breaking up, and you know what they're like. Tao's been going out with Elle Argent, a girl from Nick's school, for almost the same amount of time Nick and I have been going out. They do seem to argue a lot, but this is only because they're practically the same person. Yeah. Aled doesn't say anything else, so I stand up and say I'm going to the bathroom. But I don't go to the bathroom. I walk all the way down to the locker room and just so I can lean against a wall in the locker row and take out my phone and try to think of something to say to Nick. Some way of telling him what I'm feeling. But there isn't any way to say it. Not without making him feel guilty, and that's the last thing I want. Instead, I load up my Tumblr inbox, just to see if anything's interesting in there. But there are only a few new messages asking whether I'd thought properly about how long distance works, about whether it's really worth the pain, about whether Nick's really not going to meet someone else at university while I'm not with him all the time. I don't mean to let this stuff get to me, but it still does. I even feel myself start to well up a bit, so I exit the Tumblr app and delete it from my phone. We're fine. Why am I getting so upset about this now? Nick. When Charlie slumps into my car at 3:15 p.m., I can tell something's up. I say hi, but all I get is a tiny grumble in response, and as soon as he shuts the door, he leans on the window and closes his eyes. I stay still for a moment, waiting to see if he's going to say anything, but he doesn't. You okay? He says, unmoving. Bad day? I drive off without pushing it. If he doesn't want to talk about it, he won't. If he wants to talk about it, he will. That's one thing I've learned about Charlie. If you try to make him talk about stuff he doesn't want to talk about, there's even less of a chance he will eventually tell you. By the time we get to Charlie's house, he seems a bit better, so I don't bring it up. But something's still kind of off with him. He sits on his laptop in intense silence while I'm catching up with his mom. He spends at least half an hour choosing what to wear for Harry's party, even though he wears the same jeans and check shirt everywhere anyway. It takes him significantly longer than normal to eat dinner, which is always a sign he's stressed about something. In the car on the way to Harry's house, his knees bob up and down. Maybe he's pissed at me for some reason. I have no idea why he would be. We park the car down the road, and he walks a little way ahead of me and Tori, Charlie's sister, who we gave a lift to. Have you argued? Tori asks. Seems like he's pissed off with you. Not that I know of. I don't know what's wrong. She doesn't say anything else. Harry Green lives in a townhouse near the high street. His massive parties are pretty much the main reason he's the most famous guy at Trillium. We know that by 11, most everyone will be in the basement dancing to just some crappy dubstep mix. By 12, people will be throwing up in houseplants pots and on the pavement outside. By 2, people will be asleep in the corridors, breaking away into different rooms to mess around, getting high in the garden. And sure enough, Harry's got the music blasting from the basement, making the floor vibrate, and there are people everywhere. Mostly true sixth formers, but definitely a few year 10s and 11s too, and people from secondary school across town. I think we're all supposed to be in the garden, but it's absolutely chucking it down with rain, so much for summer. As soon as we're inside and Tori's gone off to find her friends, Charlie speed walks towards the kitchen for drinks. The kitchen table is, as expected, covered in bottles and plastic cups. And once we reach it, Charlie downs a shot of vodka, and then another one. I think this might be the point where I need to actually say something. I touch his arm. Hey. He looks at me and takes a sip of the vodka lemonade he just made. You okay? He nods a little too enthusiastically. Yeah, fine. Why? I shake my head. You just seem sort of on edge. He looks away again and pours a drop more vodka into his drink. Oh, just a bit stressed because of revision. Just been in a bad mood today. This seems like a reasonable explanation, I guess. Then again, Charlie could lie for Britain. He lies to loads of people. He lied to people at school for months about his anorexia. He lies to his parents sometimes when he wants to go somewhere with me, but isn't sure they'd let him. He lies to Mr. Shannon to avoid becoming unpopular with the other students. To be fair, he hardly ever lies to me, but occasionally I can tell that he's saying something just because he doesn't want to bother me. I think this might be one of those times. He takes another sip. His eyes dart around the room. Best Coast, he says. What? The music? It's Best Coast. I hadn't even clocked it that there was music playing in here. I try to think of something to say, but he beats me to it. We should get drunk. I chuckle. I'm driving. Oh, that's boring. You get drunk. I plan to. You'd think we should actually socialize first? He pours a glass of lemonade and hands it to me. Fine. He steps closer to me. So close, I think he's going to go in for a kiss right here in front of the people chatting and drinking around us. But instead, he just gazes up at me beneath his dark hair with icy eyes, smirking slightly, the tease of a dimple in one cheek, letting loose everything that made me physically attracted to him in the first place. I'm half confused and half extremely aroused. Nick, he says, so low and quiet I probably wouldn't have heard it if I'd not been staring at his lips. I let out a nervous laugh, but I don't really know what to say. We're not exactly adverse to public displays of affection, but we're never like this. Whenever other people are around, what is he trying to do? I want a drunk hookup in the bathroom later, he murmurs, and then he walks off before I have a chance to answer him. Charlie. I'm aware that I'm combating my feelings about Nick going to university by A, refusing to talking about it, and B, flirting with him so hard it's actually embarrassing, but honestly, I'm this close to punching the next person in the face who even uses the word university in a sentence. I have not punched anyone yet in my life, but it's never too late to start. Oh, and see, I'm getting drunk. Very drunk. It doesn't take a lot to get me drunk, which is extremely useful for situations like this, where year 13s are everywhere and no one will shut up about leaving for school and prom and summer and university, and I want to go home. I stay away from Nick as much as possible because hearing him talk about it is the worst part of it all. I'm a terrible person. It's 11 o'clock now, and I've lost count of how many vodka lemonades I've had, and I'm having to stay seated on an armchair next to Tao in the commissary because standing up is proving quite difficult at the moment. There isn't really enough room for both of us on the armchair, and my leg is sort of going numb because Tao is slightly sitting on it, but he's too engaged in talking about something or another. I don't know. I'm not really paying attention. Have you and Nick talked about it? He says, snapping me out of my daze, but still like I've got cotton in my ears and nothing is actually happening. What? I wasn't listening. Tao grins at me. He always seems more like his eccentric self when we're outside of school. Tonight he's wearing a stripy shirt that is probably intended for a significantly overweight businessman with rolled up green trousers and his signature red beanie. He generally doesn't think he belongs in Wes Anderson film. He throws his arms around me and rests his head on mine. Aw, you're such an adorable lightweight. I'm glad we're not leaving school this year. If one more person mentions leaving school, I'm literally going to cry. He pats my cheek. There. It'll be fine. You're Nick and Charlie, aren't you? I don't know what that means, I say. Nick. Everyone is talking about uni. I don't think I've ever been so excited for something or so ready. And everyone else going to uni seems to agree. It's the start of freedom, doing things because we choose to do them, finally being treated as adults. But I get that, like, Charlie might not want to talk about it all the time. I mean, he's still got a year left of school, but it gets to 11 and Charlie is definitely avoiding me. Normally we stick pretty close together at parties, and considering how he was acting earlier, well, I'm a bit confused, if I'm honest. I find him curled up in an armchair with his friend Tao. I say hi to Tao and exchange pleasantries, but can see Charlie staring at me. I crouch down next to the armchair so our eyes are level. His are unfocused and blinking a lot. He's pissed, all right. You okay? I'm fine, he snaps with an irritated grin. God, you don't need to, check up on me every second. Jesus Christ. I feel myself recoil. Charlie hasn't snapped at me like that for months. What the hell have I done? I stand up again. Alright, fine. No need to shout at me. He looks away. I wasn't shouting. Yeah. I turned around and leave the commissary, but not as fast enough that I don't hear Tao say to Charlie, "What's going on?" Charlie. It's midnight, and I'm in the basement, where almost everyone's come to dance, hoping that the blast of dubstep, some crappy remix of draft punk, will drown out the buzzing in my brain, but it doesn't. I can't stop thinking I'm a piece of shit. I'm the worst boyfriend in the entire universe. I lean against the wall, but just end up sliding down it, so I'm sitting on the floor. All the dancers blurring in front of me under Harry's flashing fairy lights. Why am I so weird and angry? Why am I like this? Charlie! Shouts a voice over the music. Not Nick's. And I look up and there's Aled gazing down awkwardly in his burgundy jumper. He squats down next to me. Are you alright? I swallow, so close to saying no. No, I'm ridiculous. I'm hilariously unalright. Yeah, I'm fine. You don't look alright. Aled frowns. Is this because of Ellen Tao? Maybe I'm just hallucinating conversations now. Maybe my brain is just stringing random words together. What? What do you mean? I just thought, what I said about Ellen Tao yesterday. It was stupid. I feel really bad. I shake my head, wanting to laugh. What the fuck are you talking about, Aled? You know, Elle and Tao breaking up? I spring forward from the wall. What? Aled's eyes widen. Oh God, I just assumed you would know by now. They just decided that they were breaking up at the end of the summer. I just heard. I stare at him. What? Aled looks down. Yeah, Tao was just like, yeah, we're gonna keep going until Elle leaves, but I think the long distance thing will be too hard and Elle wants a fresh start at uni. But Tao didn't tell me. I was talking to him earlier. Aled says nothing. I open my mouth to say something, but nothing comes out. Why would anyone just end a relationship because it's got to go long distance for a bit? Elle and Tao clearly like each other a lot. They're practically the same person, for God's sake. Why would you do that? Nick and I aren't going to do that. Nick doesn't want a fresh start. He thinks long distance will be fine. He doesn't want to break up with me. Doesn't he? Does he? Does he want to break up with me? Oh God, Charlie, what's... Aled started speaking because I've started crying. Great. Sorry, I say. My voice definitely isn't audible above the deafening music, and I'm not sure who I'm apologizing to anyway. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Nick. Since I haven't seen Charlie for half an hour, I think about now might be a good time to go looking for him again, even if he is in a mood with me. What is his deal, though? He's actually starting to piss me off a bit now. I've done nothing for him to be in a mood with me about. I find him in the basement, and he's just sitting in a corner with his friend Aled. So I go over to him, hoping that his weird, bad mood has just gone away, but as I barge through the dancers, getting closer and closer, I start to realize that his cheeks are damp, and he's been crying. And that's when I start to feel seriously concerned. Something's definitely wrong. I kneel down next to him, and Aled gives me this panicked look like he doesn't know what to do. Charlie rolls his head towards me, and he's even drunker than earlier, if that's possible. No wonder he's sitting on the floor in the basement. What's wrong? I shout over the music. He laughs, but it looks wrong. Something is really wrong. Are you gonna start talking about university again? What? It's pissing me off so much, Nick. I squint at him and ask, pissing you off? But he just mumbles something in reply, and I can't hear him properly. Then he pulls me roughly towards him with one arm and kisses me. I quickly discover that drunken kisses are not fun when one person is sober. Despite this, he tries to deepen the kiss. I can feel the dampness on his cheeks and the taste of alcohol. It takes a few seconds for me to actually realize what's happening, and in that time I blink and see Aled make a look of startled distress, stand up and walk away. I gently push Charlie off me. Don't. Nick. Charlie tries to lean forward again, but I just lean backwards. You promised. Charlie, you're acting really weird. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I pull him by the arm so we're both standing. He staggers and grabs onto my arm with both hands. Come on, let's go upstairs. He doesn't answer, so I lead him back through the dancers and back upstairs, where it's nearly empty now. Almost everyone is dancing in the basement. I guide him to the commissary, which is also, as I hoped, empty and quiet, apart from the rain that's pummeling against the glass roof. I sit him down on the armchair again and crouch in front of him. What's going on? He doesn't look at me, or even seem to have heard me. Charles, I say, a little louder, and this time he meets my eyes. Why are you acting like this? What? He snaps, shaking his head. What am I acting like? Like 1 minute you're seriously pissed off with me and the next you want to get off with me. He bends over and puts his head in his hands. I feel sick. For fuck's sake. I stand up. This is hopeless. Why are you being such a dick? He doesn't move. Just talk to me, I say. He says nothing. You can't be angry at me if you can't even tell me what I'm doing wrong. He makes a groaning noise and shakes his head in his hands. Fucking hell, I say, sitting down heavily on the sofa opposite. Well, I don't fucking know what to do then. Stop shouting at me, he mumbles from behind his hands. I'm not shouting at you. You are. We sit in silence for a minute until a particularly loud thunder crash makes me jump. Charlie notices and raises his head. You can break up with me if you want, he says. It takes a few seconds to process that. What? I say. I stand up again and feel myself really get angry now. What is he talking about? Where the hell has this come from? What the fuck are you talking about? If you want a fresh start or something, if you're bored. His eyes are unfocused again. His words slurring, lightning flashes overhead, frightening the room. Why is he saying these things? What? Is that what you want? I huff out a laugh. This can't be happening. You want us to break up, is that it? I want you to be happy. Bullshit, I spit out, my voice definitely too loud now. Ellen Tower breaking up. What? So we need to break up too. You're not even going to try to stay in a relationship with me. Part of me wants to talk this out rationally, but the other part of me is just pure anger, and I don't even know why. I think I'm just tired of all this, bullshit, and all this university talk, and remembering that I've only got a few months left with Charlie. Why are you saying these things, Charlie? If you're trying to break up with me, just fucking spit it out. But I don't want him to. I feel like I'm about to be sick. Charlie just shakes his head and stares blankly at the space next to me. Is that why you've been acting like this? I say. You want to break up with me, but you're not even fucking brave enough to say it. You want to force me to break up with you instead. He's crying again now. His head shaking from side to side, his knees bobbing up and down, but he doesn't say anything. He doesn't deny it. Well, fuck you then, I say. And that's when I realize that I'm crying too. God, how long it's been since that happened. And then he raises his head and full on shouts at me. Well, it's me who's getting left behind. He points towards somewhere, indeterminable outside, and his voice breaks. You're fucking off to university while you meet loads of new people, and it's me who's getting left behind. We keep being like, oh, everything's gonna be fine, we'll Skype all the time, blah, 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 but it's not going to be alright, is it? He gestures wildly, his eyes darting around the room. It's not going to be alright, it's going to be crap for me. I'm going to be stuck in this shitty town all by myself, but here you are talking about it like it's the best fucking thing ever. And you know what? It makes me feel like shit. It's like you're looking forward to getting rid of me. Like you can't wait to finally get out of here and get away from me. What the fuck? I shout back, running a hand through my hair. What do you think I'm doing? What do you want me to do? Not go to university? No, because that sounds like what you're saying. I'm not. You've got no fucking right to be annoyed with me about that. I'm a year older than you. I'm going to university in September. That's just the way it is. He stares at me, eyes wide and filled with tears, and then he looks down. Why are you being like this? Mate, what the fuck am I being like? Charlie looks up again, and then moves his hand. His eyes are thin slits. Don't call me mate. You never call me Nate. I just shake my head and let out a huff of exaggeration. Oh, you're just being a proper dickhead tonight, aren't you? Just leave then, he shouts. The rain falls harder than ever. I can barely hear him over the noise. Fuck off then. Yeah, fine, no problem. And that's it. I walk out of the room. Standing in the corridor is Tao Zhu, who probably heard every word. God, this is all his and Elle's fault. If they hadn't fucking broken up in the first place, Charlie wouldn't want to. He wouldn't have thought are you okay? Tao stutters. He's always been a weaselly little prick with his stupid beanies and stupid shirt. I never liked him. See what you've done? I say, stepping past him. Fuck you. He cowers back. I want to say something else to him, but I can't think of anything. My head's gone blank. I'm still processing what's happened. What has happened? Everything was fine yesterday. This can't be the end. This can't possibly be the end. I barge through the people chatting and smiling and laughing in the living room until I'm out of the house and in the rain. And by the time I reach my car, I'm choked and shivering. I turn on the engine and I just end up sitting in my car for 20 minutes. Maybe because I'm too scared to drive while I can still hear thunder in the distance, or maybe it's because I'm hoping Charlie's going to run out of that house and open the door and say that everything he'd said was just a drunken mistake. But he doesn't. So I sit there. Alright everyone, that is the end of today's episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. That was chapter 2 of Nick and Charlie. I know, it was a rough one. It was a sad one, and it kind of hurt reading like all together. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. And follow my Instagram at AlecReads123 and subscribe, like, and comment down below whether it's leaving recommendations or whether it's just saying hello. I had more things to say. What else did I have to say? Yeah, I don't know. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, goodbye, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends!